Hey, welcome back to the RV Dad Adventures. It's off on another weekend for some more adventuring here in the Florida Panhandle. Part of this weekend's adventure is
Beach Day!
So we're going to head over to St. Andrews State Park and go see the deer that they've got hanging out there. Go see the maybe the alligators. I think they got a few alligators there too. But as well as just spend some time out on the beach, do some swimming, because this one right here is a water baby. She loves being in the water. This one right here, poke him in the face, he would much rather be on his electronics. So we're gonna try to get him off that today and do some swimming. Maybe I can get him to take his phone in the water and we won't have to worry about his phone no more. No, just playing.
I'm more of a fish.
But after today, tomorrow, we're going to go down to Port St. Joe, and they have a constitutional museum down there, and we're going to go see what all that's about. So tag along. We'll see you in a few seconds. Actually, don't forget to give us a like, a share, and a comment on our videos. Help the algorithm grow for us so we can get become a bigger channel. Because our videos are going to get better in quality as we learn how to do the editing, as well as create better content for you guys to watch on our adventures. So with that being said, don't forget to give us a like, share, and a comment. That way you can help us grow. But we'll see you in a few seconds when we get over here to St. Andrews State Park. Let's go in here and get the drink here.
Where's the water? Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Oh, these?
Get it a Sonny. Down at the bottom.
These?
Wyatt, bottom. It's bigger.
I want the smart one.
It don't make you smart. It makes you dumb for spending more money for the expensive one.
It's mini stuff. Hey, what is this? You said you were getting one.
I know, not from here.
Okay. Daddy, look. It's a mini stuff.
Yeah.
It's so surprised that people are so have a white one selling sandwiches.
6 you got on that one?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a winner dog.
You can have it in the park, you just can't take it down on the beach.
We should probably have it's a winner dog. Oh, weenie dog.
Wonderful. People doing wildlife along here. People are calling it wildlife out there.
Yeah. You should have seen the little, I wouldn't say little, the sea turtle I seen yesterday.
Real?
Yeah.
Big?
Yeah, down in Port St. Joe,
This is so
the marina.
That's so educating.
You want your receipt?
Daddy, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Go enjoy your day.
Hey,
Hello.
how are you?
Daddy, they have me.
Yeah.
And then a turtle.
$11.83. Want a bag?
No, thank you.
Now this one's educating. No, this one.
How much is a kayak rentals?
For the tandem, which is the double seater or the single?
Single.
They're 30 for 2 hours. But I have all of them out right now. I only
I
have 3
know.
singles.
I'd go over to Tyndall first. It's like $40 for a motorized one.
A motorized one?
Yeah.
Really? For all day or what?
all day.
What?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You gonna get your stuffs? Get my tea.
Well, God, I thought 30 for 2 hours was good.
No,
Never
it's 40
mind.
bucks for the, well, I think it ends up being like 55
Yeah.
all day with the trolling motor that sits between your legs, and all you do is steer with your feet.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
cool. That's good to know. Thanks for
Yeah.
Do we have sunscreen?
No. You got small things as sunscreen?
there. All we got was over there. I'm not sure if we have any other small ones. No, it's just all
It don't really matter the size.
Defogger.
13.
All they got is SPF 15s.
On back for it? Should we cut that off?
And what does that do?
Nothing.
I just lets you get some. You would have forgotten, Daddy.
Yeah, but all they got is SPF 15. We'll have to get the lotion kind because it's SPF 100 for gingers like me.
You're gonna cut it. Too bad I can't have it. Good look. Daddy, look.
Move.
Oh God, I don't know if you want that.
How much?
$17.39.
No. It's cheaper
I
than
swear
that.
it's not me. I don't make up.
Oh, I know, because the spray bottles at the store I was working at were 14.
I think
Right,
you
this
kind
one's
of-
educated.
You pay for convenience here. a little
Yeah,
Literally moves.
yeah. All right, you ready?
I have a little bit in here. It's only 15.
Oh, might would do some good on them. Not a ginger like me. I need SPF
I'm gonna
1000.
spray it. I don't know how much is left.
Rub it in.
I'm gonna take my shirt off.
Rub it in. Come here, Everly.
You can actually just take it if you want.
You sure?
It's fine. Yeah. we
Okay.
don't really. The ginger we had working here is not here anymore.
Yeah, oh, this wouldn't do her no good.
I know that 15.
No, she needs like me, SPF 1000.
I burn.
Thank you.
I burn easily.
So, from the last time we were here,
Oh yeah.
they have
Cameras aren't coming back to me, I guess.
extended the jetties because they used to be like those down there, but now they're bigger all the way up here.
Oh, I remember this. I kind of remember it. Yeah. I'm gonna go see the future and see the past. Thankfully. What, did I like the water back then?
Yeah,
Yeah, I love the water. So your water.
there's a fishing charter boat.
Yeah, I can see. Well, there's some pretty big fishing poles.
You gonna leave your Crocs on?
Not right now.
Talking to Wyatt. He's the one sitting here with them on still. We're gonna walk over there. This used to be the short side of the jetties up here. We're gonna go over here.
He just got a jellyfish.
Yeah,
Can I take my cover off?
when we get down there.
Somebody has the same boogie board. I'm gonna test this out. We're gonna have to put something over that so it doesn't just fly away.
Over what?
Fish.
Oh,
So it doesn't fly away.
just set it up against it.
Wait, which way is the wind going? It didn't work. Which way is the wind going? I guess it's going that way.
Hmm?
The wind's going that way.
Don't want to make the same mistake I made the other day when I went fishing and leave my wallet.
Get the sunscreen. This one almost do it.
No, I left it in my pocket all day.
You were in the water?
Hmm?
Were you in the water?
Mm-hmm.
Why don't I feel in the water?
Come here, Everly. Sit over
I
here.
don't think that one's gonna do any good. Especially on me. Ooh, it smells good.
Turn around.
Never mind, that smells a little. Can you rub it in my back? Dad, we forgot the snack bag.
Yep.
What snack bag? Oh, we already have snacks. Where?
No, we brought some
Fudge rounds and all
fudge
that.
rounds and some, you know, packages of Oreos.
Am I good? Can we go in the water?
Yeah. I don't know. Get them. You gonna put your goggles on, Everly? All right.
Hermit crab. I found a hermit crab.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a lot dirtier than I remember. Instantly.
Well, this is cleaner than down in Port St. Joe right now because of all the fresh water washing out of the bayous and stuff.
My goggles.
Come on.
Is this salt? Yeah, it's definitely salt.
Come on, Wyatt.
So much harder than you think. Am I able to? Come on, take a break.
See your goggles.
Fish! A fish!
Yeah. That's the reason I brought you over here to the rock so you can see those.
I'm gonna get onto this rock over here. Daddy, I saw a goldfish. Wait, goldfish live over here? I don't know.
Fishy time.
Right?
I'm gonna go over and check the pier out first before we go and swim by the pier.
Okay.
That way we can possibly see more fish other than just those mullet and pinfish we seen earlier.
What about those big ones? And needlefish.
What big ones?
Like that. Those big ones we saw earlier.
Those were mullet.
Daddy, we also, I already saw a needlefish.
What's your last name?
So from here you can also catch the ferry to go get on the boat to go to Shell Island.
What is Shell Island? Oh. That island you were talking about?
Yeah, where you said the mountains were, that's Shell Island.
Oh. I bet there's two shells. It looked like mountains,
Yeah, but it wasn't.
but it was just sand. My bum.
Alright, we're gonna call it for the day. Well, good afternoon. I was gonna say good morning. We long past that.
Yeah.
How are you today?
Oh, hallelujah.
I feel you. I'm right there with you. Oh, shit. Right. You still doing the guided tours today?
Well, I can certainly guide you through.
Okay. It's
Where you folks
replica.
from?
Right now we're local. We're staying down here in our RV
Oh,
for the winter. Then we're heading to our next destination.
Oh, good, good.
And they have the replicas of the state constitution.
Well, it's $2 a person.
Okay.
Well, alrighty. So you ready to learn some cool Florida history?
Yeah.
I bet you know all about it already. You want to sign my book? Have you ever used a dip pen? It's kind of how they did it, but way back in the old days. You can dip it in some ink. Give that a try. Well, that is nice.
Write your name above hers.
What?
Might have to re-dip it.
Why so big?
Wyatt and Everly. Awesome. Well, nice to meet you. Want to sign too, Dad?
Sure. I'll put my John Hancock down there. That's what they used to call it.
Do it fancy. Wow.
Everybody's got nice penmanship.
There's no ballpoint in there.
Yeah. Well, now back in the early days, they actually used a real feather. So you'd cut the end off your feather, make it to a point like that, and that's what you dip in the ink, and then you'd write with that. So that one's a little different, 'cause it's got a little metal tip on it. Because, you know, these would kind of wear out pretty quickly. So do you like being in Florida?
Yeah.
What kind of cool things you been doing?
Went to a cave, swam in a spring, and all that type of stuff.
A cave
Yeah.
and swimming in the springs. That's nice. Kind of cold in the springs, isn't it?
Yeah.
You like that? You like that cold water? Well, when it's really hot outside, I guess it feels good.
I like the cold water.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not when you're showering.
Yeah. Did you see anything cool when you were in the springs? Did you see any alligators or anything?
But we saw a few fish.
Oh, good. Well, it's kind of cool to see some alligators, but maybe not when you're swimming next to them, though. It's a little scary. Well, let me tell you a little bit about this museum. This is where Florida's first Constitution was written. Right out there on the grounds, there's a monument. Looks like that painting there. That is where the convention hall was located. So in 1838, 56 delegates that represented the whole Florida territory, they all came together to write a constitution. Do you know why that was important? You probably know a lot about the U.S. Constitution, right?
Yeah.
You've heard about that. You probably know it all by heart, don't you? Well, the U.S. Constitution is the law of the land for everybody. That gives us all our rights. But each individual state has a constitution as well. So when Florida wanted to become part of the United States instead of just a territory, they had to submit a constitution. And that's kind of like if you went to get a job, you'd fill out an application, submit a resume, telling the boss why they should hire you. Well, Florida said, this is why you need to let us join the union, because this is how we plan to govern. So the state's constitution is more about how you plan to govern as opposed to everybody's rights. So, and there are special rules for that. So you couldn't just do whatever the heck you wanted to. Like you couldn't have a king. There couldn't be a king of Florida, and they wouldn't allow you to be a part of the United States at that point. So it's kind of important. So I'll tell you a little bit about the cool history of Florida. Because you know, before Florida became part of the United States, there was another country that claimed Florida. Any idea who it was?
France?
Yeah. And there was another one. Sometimes when you just look around, you might find the answers.
Spanish.
Spain and England.
Yeah.
They all wanted to claim Florida. But ultimately, back in 1821, it was Spain that the United States purchased Florida from. And I'm kind of glad they did that. You know why? Because my Spanish isn't too good. How about yours? You don't speak Spanish? So, all right. So that is when Florida was purchased from Spain for $5 million. Sounds like a lot of money, don't it? But $5 million wouldn't buy you too much property in Florida these days. A lot has changed. So here we have some really cool old stuff that was found in the area here. So a lot of this is when the Spanish were occupying Florida. So you got some the Spanish pottery, Spanish bricks, and stuff like that. We also had some of the Native Americans that were here that kind of, you could say they really owned Florida, but unfortunately all these other countries decided they just want to come in and just take it from the natives, the Indians that were here. So there's some cool artifacts from the natives here. And here, these are the kind of tools that you would have used if you lived in the early 1800s, like a couple of hundred years ago. Some of them kind of look familiar, don't they?
The hammer.
Yeah, the hammer hasn't changed too much.
Padlock.
You know what?
The padlock.
Oh, yeah. Pretty neat padlock. What about that up there? You know what they use that for? That was a drill. Back before they
I
had,
get it.
yeah. Back before they had electricity, you'd hold that top handle, and then you just have to turn it. because you didn't have the electricity to do it for you. So that's how you would drill with a drill bit in it. And these are a lot of the things you might use in the kitchen. A young lady like you would probably be using a lot of this stuff. This is what they used to churn butter. You didn't just go to Walmart and buy butter. You had to make your own butter. I don't think that would have been too much fun to have to do that. And also, that right there, that is a candle mold. And that was a pretty important thing to have, though that one's pretty fancy. But why would you need to make a bunch of candles?
Because they didn't have electricity.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
they didn't have light bulbs and all that.
Exactly. So you'd have to make...
They didn't have LED lights.
That is right. So we've come a long way. So this, all of this here, basically just tells you about the old city of St. Joseph. That was the name of the city that used to be right here where we're at now. Of course, now you think of Port St. Joe, which is actually it's a different city. So it came along a little bit later than the city of St. Joseph, and it's in a different location. So the old city was centered here, whereas Port St. Joe is centered that way. So old city was really quite a boom town. You know what that means? Big, booming, lots of people. This was the most populous city in the territory of Florida. It means the biggest city had the most people in Florida back then, which is kind of strange to most people that are visiting here, because it's kind of a quiet little town now. But there were more people back in the early 1800s that lived in the city of St. Joseph than there is in the city today. So that was a pretty big deal. So that is why they decided to have the Constitutional Convention here. And it was a pretty special event. And it would have probably have become Florida's state capital. Do you know what our capital is now? Tallahassee. Tallahassee, Florida. Have you visited around there?
I think.
You've probably been pretty close to it. When you went in the caves, let's see, you were probably in Mariana, not too far from Tallahassee. In fact, we're not very far from Tallahassee now. But, like I said, this would have probably have been the state capital, but the city didn't last very long. So it went from a big old boom town to a ghost town in just like 10 years. In fact, they called it the City of the Dead. There was a yellow fever epidemic that swept through the city. Have you ever heard of yellow fever?
I think.
Yeah, it used to be really bad back then. Now we don't have too much problem with yellow fever here in the United States now. But back then it just killed a lot of people. And it just about wiped out the population of St. Joseph because it was so bad. But thank goodness we really don't have to worry about that now. Now, if you ever travel outside of the United States, you may actually have to be vaccinated against yellow fever. But even with that, like I said, they've come a long way and figured out how to take care of problems like that. So, thank goodness. In fact, this is one of the headstones from the old St. Joseph Cemetery. And this was one of the first victims of yellow fever. And he was a ship's captain. And he had died aboard his sailing ship. And most of the crew had died on board the boat. But it was like the first mate sailed in to bring the captain here to St. Joseph so they could actually give him a proper burial instead of tossing him overboard. So that's Captain George Cuthbert. And this is one of my favorite things here. This is like the old money. I like money. Did you like money?
Yeah.
Yeah? So this is the old money. So before Florida became an actual state, when it was just a territory, they had their own banks for Florida instead of the federal banks and stuff. So just everybody was just printing their own money up. It's kind of cool. I wish we could do that now. But so this was money from the railroad company that operated here in St. Joseph. And these are from some of the Florida banks. Now, this was the U.S. currency, some of the coins. That was a penny. A little bit different than what we have now, big pennies. But these, that one right there is a dime. So it hasn't changed much, about the same size as a dime now.
Just looks the same.
Yeah. Pretty much the same, just had a different picture on the front of it. Here, we've got some really cool artifacts, really old stuff. You know what this is?
Furnace?
What'd you say?
A safe.
You talk so quiet. It's a stove. Well, yes, a furnace would be kind of something. Something to put out heat, but this is kind of what you cook with. And of course, back then, they had to build a fire to cook, so they put fire in it. Of course, it's so old, and it sat in the water for a long time, so part of it just rusted away. And so these are cool tools here. What do you think that is?
A hook.
Yeah, it's got little hook-like things on the end. They called that a gig. And that's how they might get fish. You'd actually gig them. We have flounder. Have you ever seen a flounder?
Yeah.
Yeah, the flatfish, and they lay on the bottom. So if you take a gig, you just go and gig them. And now there's hooks on the ends, and kind of hang in there. Now, this is called a parlor room. Ever heard of a parlor room? Well, that's kind of what they call like now maybe a living room or a den. When I was a little girl, we called it the no-no room. You know why we call it the no-no room?
We're not in.
Right. Kids couldn't go in the no-no room unless you had an adult with you, because basically it's kind of a fancy room where if you had guests come over, you wanted a nice place to entertain your guests, you'd come in and you might sit and have a cup of tea. Over there, it's pretty cool. That's a spinning wheel.
Is that where they made their clothes?
Yeah, that would kind of start you on making clothes. It actually used cotton to make cotton thread. And you spin that cotton until it made some thread. And then you could make your clothes with it. And that lady there, I call her Jane. She's a little quiet. But me and her, we sit and talk. She has tea and I have coffee in the morning. I do most of the talking though, but she's a good listener. Now this is really an awesome thing here. This is the feminine finery, which this is the ladies' stuff. How would you like to dress like that? No? It can be hot. But I think it might be cool to kind of dress like that every now and again. As long as I could wear my pajamas to go to Walmart. So they dress fancy like that. And they use this. It kind of looks like an umbrella. They call it a parasol. So it wasn't really good if it was raining, but it would keep the sun off of you. You had it out. And it just kind of looked pretty to have a parasol. And they have their silk stockings and all that kind of neat stuff. But what was really cool is this fan. Do you know what they use their fans for?
Cooling them down.
Yeah. Anything else? It's too many questions, huh?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you the answer. So, yeah, they would cool off with it, but it actually was the way the young ladies would flirt with the young men. So they would take their fans and they'd kind of cover their face, bat their eyes, and they were talking to the boys. And you could actually fold it up. And they would maybe, if you touched it on this side, it might mean that you were available. And maybe on this side, and I'm not real sure, I'm not up on my fan language, but this side meant you were taken, so back off. But like I said, that would be the way they would flirt, and they would be all bashful and stuff. And this one's got a mirror on the side of it. What was the mirror for?
To make sure they look good.
Yep. But guess what? There's something else. It's a really small mirror, so it's kind of hard to see how you look, but you could. Or, if you were flirting with the boys, then you play hard to get. And you turn and you walk away. And as you're walking away, you look in your mirror and you can see behind you. And you can tell if the boys are checking you out as you walk away. So how do you flirt with the boys?
I don't.
Good answer. Good answer. Don't do it and don't get a flirting fan. If a gal comes up to you with a flirting fan, what are you going to do?
Ignore them.
These are some smart ones. Yes. That is a good answer. Now, this is my favorite part of the museum, but it's a little bit creepy. These are my creepy animatronics. You think they're creepy? Do you want to hear them talk and see them move? Press the button.
The red button.
Oh, you got it good enough. And they're slow. Because they're really old. Old and slow like me. Come on, guys.
On behalf of the delegates of this convention, we present thanks to the Honorable Robert Raymond Reed for the dignity, ability, and impartiality with which he presided over these deliberations.
I congratulate you upon the work you have accomplished. We met here surrounded by difficulties. There was a miscalculation among ourselves, perhaps among our constituents, of the labor to be performed. For the most part, we were strangers to one another, and time was necessary for the just appreciation of the character and motives of each other, for the interchange of opinion, for removing prejudices and softening opposition, and for the correction of error and the establishment of truth.
Besides, Mr. Reed, we were without books for models of constitutional legislation and the opinions of the great lawgivers of the world. We were dependent almost entirely upon memory.
My friend, Mr. Duval, is correct. But notably and faithfully, you gentlemen have performed your duty. You have compromised opinions without deserting principle. Aided by patriotism and guided by wisdom, you have framed a constitution every way worthy of the ability and skill which were brought to its construction.
Sir, even with all our wisdom and hard work, I feel that the Constitution is still, well, somewhat imperfect.
Yes, I am aware the Constitution is imperfect. But was it ever otherwise with any production of even the highest genius or the strongest intellect? The true question is, do not its perfections far outweigh its defects? All will, I think, agree that the work is more to be commended than condemned. We part, perhaps never to meet again. May you return in safety to your homes and friends, cheered by the consciousness of having performed your duty. I tender you an affectionate farewell. May the temple you have this day erected to liberty long remain the honor, the safety, and the protection of the people of Florida.
So,
They didn't talk.
you know, I think maybe they're shy,
They're creepy.
or it might be kind of like when you're in school, in the classroom, and when the teacher's talking, what are you supposed to do? Exactly. So, are you homeschooled?
I'm pretty sure next year we're going to, but not this year.
Oh, okay. Well, how about being part of Florida history up close? You gotta be brave. Like, go right up there with the creepy guy?
No.
No?
I will.
Yeah, I knew you were brave. You might just change your mind. Dad can come with you.
Go.
A secret passageway.
I'll stand back here and take a picture.
You guys are pretty awesome. Yeah, they're creepy. But I promise, if they start doing anything weird, I'll protect you. So how about we get up here, main man, a little closer. You get to hold this. Just don't whack the furniture, because it's real old. Don't whack me, because I'm real old. Just stand there and look cool. You, I don't have any ink for this one, but we can pretend. Act like you're adding something really good to Florida's Constitution. Maybe look up and smile at the camera.
Hey. Wyatt. Everly.
Awesome. I love it. Too smart and brave.
On behalf of the delegates of this convention, we present thanks to
Did you
the
do that?
Honorable Robert Raymond Reed and the dignity
I was hoping he would do it when she walked by.
which he presided over these
Trying to
deliberations.
scare us.
I congratulate you upon the work you have accomplished. We met here surrounded by difficulties. There was a miscalculation among
Walking
ourselves,
in the
perhaps
old
among our
city.
constituents of the liberty we performed. For the most part, we were strangers to one another, and time was necessary for the just appreciation of the character and motives of each other, for the interchange of
You robbing people now?
or removing prejudices and softening up
She wants to have
and for the correction of
a duel, I guess. More creepy stuff. So, you know what else was really awesome about the old city of St. Joseph? The very first steam locomotive to operate in Florida was right here in the old city of St. Joseph. It was only the third steam locomotive to operate in the entire United States back then. It was a really big deal. Of course, this is just a model of it, but this is only just a little bit smaller than what the real thing was. It was like really new technology. Did you see that big steam locomotive that's across the road? Well, that one's a little bit more modern.
It was like
This was in the early 1800s, so it looked like this. So it was really little. And the poor fella that had to operate it, he just stood on that back platform.
Look like that size. Unless I'm going bonkers.
Well,
No.
I don't think you're bonkers.
Does the
You're right.
Does the original still exist?
No, they don't have them. But you seen those wheels out front?
Yeah.
Those were from one of the actual locomotives from back then. So they found some of the wheels, but no, they didn't have any of the locomotives. They actually operated 3 of them here in St. Joseph.
There's seen one like the one outside in Colorado. Stop.
So this was put in operation in about 1836, and the very first steam locomotive to operate in the entire world was in 1829, and that was in England. It was Liverpool, England. They called that steam locomotive the Rocket. So that was the very first one in 1829. So it took a little while before the United States caught on and decided they wanted to have some steam locomotives. So less than 10 years later, they were operating this one. But they started improving on it pretty quickly. So the locomotive that's over there, that would have been from the late 1800s, early 1900s. So at that point, they just wanted something that was bigger and more powerful, could go further, go faster, and a place to sit for whomever was operating the train. So, that pretty much covers the museum. Do you have any questions?
Nope. No.
No? None? You should come up with something, because you know what? You two are smart.
Oh, I know.
But do you know who else is smart? Me. So you could ask me anything. I have all the answers.
Okay.
Some of them are the right answers, but I'll always have an answer for you.
How long did it take to build the train?
How long did it take to build the train? Well, the train or the train tracks or all of it, well, basically they started planning for it and putting the tracks in place in about 1834. And originally they only had 8 miles of track, so it wasn't very far, but it still took a while for them to do it. So within basically a couple of years, they were up and running.
So a couple of years.
For 8 miles of track.
And yet there's
Should be that red line right there.
there's a train track going across the whole country.
Yeah, that's modern.
Yeah, we got, like I said, now, not so much here, but in some other countries, they got high-speed railways. I mean,
Bullet
they're,
trains and all that.
yes, they go super
Especially
fast.
the Japanese bullet train.
Mm-hmm. That is pretty awesome. I mean, you just get wherever you need to go. That train there, when they had 8 miles, their first trip on it, they were pulling cars and they had people. There was like 300 people, passengers, they were taking on the first trip. So they went 8 miles in, I think it was 25 minutes. 8 miles in 25 minutes. So
To walk 8 miles,
let's see.
take you a couple hours.
So it's better than walking. And I don't know if it's better than riding a horse, but that still was kind of impressive back then. So 8 miles in 25 minutes. So let's see.
If you're on a train, the main thing you have to do is just pay, then sit on the train.
Yeah.
And riding a horse, you have to feed it and all that.
Yeah. So pay to ride the train, and they operated. It didn't use fuel. You know how a steam locomotive operates?
Cool.
Yeah. Coal or anything you build a fire with. And then you also have a place where you have water in it. So you heat the water up, and then what happens when you heat up water?
Boils.
It boils and it makes steam. So that steam, they use that to compress through the pistons, and that's what made the train run. So it didn't use gasoline, it used basically water. So that's kind of cool. So I'm trying to think. So 8 miles and 25 minutes, that would probably be about, if I'm correct, roughly about 17 miles an hour or something like that. So it's not real fast.
About as fast as you can ride on your bicycle. At fast rate.
Definitely faster than I can run.
Maybe just a tiny bit faster than I can run.
No.
A lot.
Because you would burn out before you got to the water from here.
Well,
Yeah, but
if
also
you
if I
can
have like infinite
run
stamina.
a mile in a minute, that would be pretty darn fast. So, and I've got some stuff for you if you're interested. So the museum taught us all about Florida's Constitution, but like I already talked about, law of the land for everybody, the U.S. Constitution. And you've heard of the Declaration of Independence?
Yeah.
And you'll probably be studying that kind of stuff really soon. So I've got your very own copy of the U.S. Constitution and Declaration of Independence. It's got a little place in here where you can take some notes. And it's even got questions and answers.
Oh.
So when you start studying it in school, you'll be ahead of everybody because you'll know everything there is to know about it. And the teacher will be so impressed.
What are these for?
Well, this is for brave, smart young folks. So when everybody sees your cool pictures with the creepy guys, they'll say, "What were you working on?" You can say, "I was working on Florida's first Constitution." So this is a genuine fake copy of Florida's 1838 Constitution. Rolled up into a scroll with a nifty quill on it. You get a nice feather there. They sent me some little feathers. I'll get you a good one. That one looks good. So, yeah. And I got something else. Do you like to read? Sometimes.
If I get bored, yeah.
Well, I love to read and I love books. But nowadays lots of people, they either do the audio books or they got a tablet where they read. They don't actually have a book. But anyway, this is kind of cool because these are bookmarks. So if you're actually reading a book, you need to save your place. You use a bookmark.
Finally, I get to save my place on my books.
Yay! And these are kind of cool because, you know, when I'm talking about the money, when they used to make their own money, this was money from the corporation of the city of St. Joseph. So, they didn't do coins. So that's not $25, that's 25 cents. This was kind of neat. See what's on the front of that picture?
Train.
It's that train. This one's pretty awesome. See how much that is?
6 and
6 1/4. Ever heard of such a thing?
no.
6 1/4 cents. How weird is that? But anyway, it might have bought you something back then, 200 years ago. So that one, this is kind of neat. That one's a whole $1. And it has a train on it too. This was the railroad company money. Kind of looks like some of the bills we had back there. And that was a $10 bill. So, I got a few different ones. They got different pictures on them and all that. So, pick out something.
I'm taking 10 bucks.
Like, yeah. That's my man right there. Go for the big money. But I think the train is pretty cool. So, Dad, you can have the train one too.
What do you say?
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you stopped in. Did you learn something?
Yeah. Not just something more than one.
Huh?
I learned not one thing, but multiple things.
Well, that's great. Well, it might not be as cool as going into the cool springs, but I love history. It's fun to learn about history.
And also it's the easiest class.
You think history is the easiest class? You like history?
Especially once you get to like above 5th grade and all that.
Mm-hmm. So what's your favorite subject in school?
Probably going. Wait.
Recess? That's always my favorite too.
I'd say social studies or science. Math.
Now, I like that.
4th grade and below is easy with
I
math.
love history, but math was one of my favorites, and science. So. And recess. Art, I like art.
I like art, but we don't get
And I like PE.
We don't get that every day.
You don't?
Yeah, it's like library some days. PE most. I get library Friday. And then we got computer lab.
Oh, that's interesting.
Also, the thing is, at computer lab, there was audiobook that's like saying, oh, modern technology isn't good for you on modern technology.
Is
there actually like, why would you say that on modern technology?
They call that irony. Like, teaching you about bad technology. Or new technology is bad on new technology. So,
Is there actually words inside of this?
Yeah.
It looks like this.
That's just it.
So it's kind of fancy writing. It's a little hard to read.
Cursive? Nope.
It's cursive, so I don't guess they're teaching cursive writing anymore, are they?
Well, I did in 4th grade, but so I didn't really pay attention.
Yeah. Well, I guess since we all use that new technology, nobody writes too much anymore, so.
I like writing. It's mainly school you write at.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like.
Well, it's good to keep up with stuff like that, because the one thing about new technology, it can be kind of awesome until something breaks down or you don't have any power.
AI takes over
So
the world.
yeah, you have to kind of learn how to live like they did 200 years ago.
Except there's AI trying to take over the world.
That's it's kind of scary. It's kind of exciting. But
I
then
saw
again,
a video where they were trying to make a robot sacrifice his robot dog. They gave him a shotgun. And they're like, do it. The robot said, why are you trying to make me shoot my dog?
Well, I've always thought about it, that what happens when our technology is way smarter than we are, kind of almost is already. You see old movies that talk about the computers and everything just taking over the world, so I hope they don't. So that's why, if things go bad with the technology, you know who's going to make it? Us smart folks. We'll know what to do, right?
Yeah. Hopefully we don't make military robots that turn off.
Yeah. Well.
Alright, so this is going to be a close to our weekend. As we went swimming yesterday and over to the Florida Constitution Museum and State Park, or Museum State Park. But hopefully you guys learned a little bit out of this video like we did, and we're going to head off. Did you guys have fun this weekend?
Yeah!
Alright, so we're going to head off and go get us a treat of ice cream and cool off because it's like 95 degrees today. So until next time, we'll see you later. Y'all take care.